Without further ado, I would like to introduce our wonderful presenters today. We are joined by Chris Bernotas, Director of Instrumental School Methods and Repertoire for Alfred Music, as well as composer, educator, and clinician Jim Palmer. Chris and Jim, thanks so much for being with us today. I'll let you take it away.
Well, Jim got the hook already.
Wow, that was quick.
It doesn't take long, Jim. Here we are again this year, sort of live. Well, we're live, but virtually live. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's always nice to get together in some form or fashion. And the first thing we're going to do to kick this off, and don't forget to reference that handout that Michaela just talked about, because it's really easy to navigate. I'm pointing over there, like you can see my screen. I've got a screen there, which is where that is. So the first thing I want to point out is our submission page, Alfred Music Submissions. Very easy to get to, and I'm very proud of it because we worked really hard as a company to try to make our process transparent and to make sure that everybody knows that there's an invitation to please send music for consideration. There are very few slots available each year, and it's super competitive to try to get a slot because we can only produce so much music each year. But if you never go for it, you'll never get a piece accepted. So we just want to make sure that everybody has that process aware. So if you go to alfred.com/submissions, and then you click submissions, there's a music submissions one. Right there is our welcome letter. And then when you scroll down, you will see what we are actively accepting. So that we're accepting concert bands, string orchestra, choral, Suzuki supplements. But it's very important if you click on those guidelines, which you don't have to do right now. But if you click the little view guidelines, we've really tried to provide a lot of helpful information to help support people's learning. Some of the best writers in our catalogs are educators because we're focused on educational music, and who knows better than educators. So, and anybody that's worked with us knows that we are supportive in an editorial sense and collaborative, and we work together, and we're certainly a supportive kind of family working together. I don't know if Jim agrees, but
it's awesome. It's a lot of fun to work with Chris. He's so dry. You know, I never hardly ever laugh, but he does a really great job with all of the music, both on the band and the orchestra side. And it's a fun place to work. And we just hope we get to see some things from everyone. So that would be great to send us your stuff.
There you go. All right. So with that, let's get to some of the music. The very first piece we're going to share today is one of mine. I'm so lucky. It's called Anaconda. It's a grade 1.5, and I want to point it to the Sound Innovation series, and all the Sound Innovations pieces come with an educational pack that has about the music, it has a form and analysis, it has terms about the music, it's got the themes written out in unison for the whole orchestra, so you can, all the practice and preparatory stuff you want to do before playing a piece of music is in the free ed pack that's in there. So this piece was inspired from my own kids, which actually a lot of what I do is inspired by my kids. They're very interested in learning, and they always teach me lots of new things. And this happened to come up on National Geographic or something about the Anaconda, and I was inspired to write this piece. And I love writing for strings because you can see it behind me here. I've got two things there. I've got a trumpet over there, and I've got a violin over here. So I love playing as I'm writing, and it's so fun. And one of the things that I love about writing for strings is I think on both sides of the music stand. As the teacher, and what are we teaching? What is the concept? And then on the student, the kid that's stuck on the other side of the music stand that has to play it. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance at the melody. And if you don't get a chance at the melody, I want to make sure that the accompaniment parts are interesting and fun as well. I hope you'll agree that I was kind of successful with that. In this particular piece, there's a nice contrasting section at measure 26 when that pops up. And there is some viola/violin 3 love that happens at measure 42. So here we go. Let's enjoy, I hope you enjoy, Anaconda.
Chris, great job with Anaconda. I just totally love that. Yeah, I see Sarah loves it too. Katie, good to see you, Katie, or see your name on there. That's awesome. Chris, you did a great job with that. E minor is such a great key for strings, and I love the rhythms. The kids are going to love that. But, you know, there's something even more interesting about this piece than Chris talked about. And it's also part, in addition of being part of the Sound Innovation series, it's a part of our Flex series. And let me tell you a little bit about that. It's our Flex series is a new idea that we're doing here at Alfred. And we have a selected number of pieces. We have about 12 in the catalog right now. And if they're identified as Flex, what that means is when you purchase the original piece that has all the parts in it, comes to your school, you like it, and you decide, you know what? I don't have a very strong viola part. What can I do about that? I wish I had a cello part to play the viola part. Well, in the Flex series, what you can do is you can go online. There's a website and a code that you can go online once you purchased it. And then you can download for free, no additional cost, a violin, violin 1, violin 2, a viola, violin 1 part, viola, violin 2 part, viola, cello part, viola, bass part, cello, violin 1, cello, violin 2, cello, viola, cello, bass, bass, violin 1, bass, violin 2, etc. Violin, viola part, you can, any combination that you want. And so if you have a weak section in your orchestra, you can just download a part that works with that. Or even better yet, for solo and ensemble, you've got that great cello choir or that great bass ensemble. You can download all of those parts and create any kind of combination that you want for free. And what I really like about it, it wasn't just transposed by the clef. We took a lot of time in going through and checking out the octaves, putting in appropriate fingerings for the appropriate instruments so that when you do it, it's going to sound like the piece would be orchestrated for that particular combination of instruments. If you're going to LGPE or MPA or any of those assessments and you had some type of different kind of ensemble, you could give the score and just write a note to the judges to say that our cellos will be playing the viola part, or the second violins, our violins will be playing part of the cello part if you had no cellos. And that's perfectly fine and will work great. I am super excited about the Flex series. And I also want to put this out there. If you think there's a great piece that you would like for us that's from Alfred, that you would like for us to put into Flex, we would love to do that for you. So just send us an email and we'll check on that. And if it's possible, we'll try to get more of those in there. But I thought you would really enjoy that. And that kind of leads us into the next piece. I get an opportunity to share one of my pieces with you. It's also in the Flex series, but it's called the Ash Grove. And this is one of my favorite fiddle tunes. And I didn't know this until I started working on arranging it, but it's a Welsh tune. I thought it was an old American fiddle tune, but it's a Welsh tune that came over to America. And the Ash Grove, the ash tree, is a dry tree. It's so dry that when you cut it down, you can immediately use the wood for campfires. It's a very hard wood. And in the Ash Grove, this is an entire grove of these trees that provided warmth in the wintertime through creating the energy that goes with the fire. And it's just a beautiful tune. So I hope you enjoy my arrangement of the Ash Grove. It's a grade 2, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
I think we all said it in the chat. Jim, that's a fantastic arrangement. It's so good. Everything about it. It just works really, really well. You just love when things all kind of come together like that. Transitions, key changes, all the puzzle pieces fit together. Nicely done.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that. That's one of my favorite tunes, and I was really happy with how it came out. Thank you for all your support on that.
You got it. So this next one, I think we all pretty much know Bob Phillips. Who doesn't know Bob Phillips? He's Bob Phillips. He's the Bob. And this is not going to be a surprise to anybody that Bob came up with a pretty clever idea called Zoomies, a virtual concert, as we're all familiar with Zooming and how that kind of invaded everyone's life in the past couple of years. So Bob took this great opportunity to come up with a somewhat novelty piece, but it's not a novelty piece. It's all scripted. It's about replicating the virtual experience. And it's got some things where maybe things didn't log in right. So there's a script to follow. It's based on Sinfonia in D, which you'll recognize right away. And there's instructions of when you start and stop in the music and certain lines to read. Oh, somebody didn't log in. Everybody's got to put in their password. What's the password? So there's all kinds of interactive stuff with it. And it's so much fun, and it's such a great idea and so clever. At the end of the piece, once you go through all this narration and broken up aspect of it, you then play it from beginning to end. If you don't want to do the shtick part of it, you can just start from the beginning and go right through it as a regular concert piece, and it works fantastically. It's a really terrific piece. I love how Bob is creative, and it just shines through this piece. So here is Zoomies, a virtual concert.
Fantastic, Bob. He is such a good arranger, and everything is always, like Chris was saying, it has all the puzzles put together just perfectly, and it's a great piece for the kids to play. The way the script works out is you would stop and there would be a little bit of dialogue and shtick, as Chris said, back and forth, and it's really fun. It's a great piece. And Sarah, it is kind of soon for that, but maybe well enough in their minds that the kids will remember how horrible it was to be on Zoom. So hopefully that'll bring a little lightheartedness to it. Our next composer, it wouldn't be a Highland catalog without Richard Meyer. I just can't believe how many awesome pieces he has written. And this one does not disappoint. It's a grade 2. That's what the greatest thing about Richard is he can write an awesome grade 2 and he can write an awesome grade 6. And he's nailed this one. This is called G-Force. And he takes a great advantage of getting a modern sounding selection that's going to help your kids improve reading notes on the G string. It's focused on those lower strings on the instrument. So a lot of times in the grade 2 level, it's all D, A, and E string, but Richard goes down into the G string and the C string on this one so that the kids can get used to reading those low ledger lines and that type of sound. He does a great job with the minor sound. He's got great driving rhythms that are appropriate to the age level. And there's a beautiful slow middle section that helps develop a nice steady beat and pizzicato. So you're about to hear G-Force by Richard Meyer. Hope you enjoy it.
So much great music in there, and I'll talk a little bit more about Richard a little later on, but I did share a little fun fact over there in the chat, if you fell asleep there, not looking at the chat, which is that he always sends me his notation files, but then about a week later, I get a package in the mail that has his handwritten bowings and articulations and everything in there. And it's always just so well prepared, and I love it. But more on that later. This next piece is by Susan Day, and I love Susan's music. It's always very tuneful and melodic, and very thoughtful about the technical demands on students. This one's a grade 1.5. It's also in that awesome key of E minor. And it was inspired by the Apache Mountain Peaks. And again, melody for all. There's a great pizzicato arco section. She's thoughtful about the difficulty level. The violin 2 and viola are doubles, and cello and bass are double. So there's a lot of confidence from your students you can get out of this piece. Really terrific. She's a wonderful writer, and I'm so thankful to have her in our catalog. So here is, and this is one of those flex pieces. So any combination you want to have, you want to feature 5 violins, go right ahead, 5 cellos, 5 basses, any mixture, whatever you need, you go to alfred.com/supplemental, and that's where you would just put in the product code, and then you would have access to all those. All right, so here we go with Apache Peak.
What a beautiful piece. Susan writes, I just love her music. Like I said, her melodies are so smooth and always sounds great. But I am just so excited about the announcement I'm about ready to make. Let's make sure, got everybody's attention. It's a big one. Alfred now is releasing a whole new series for Mark Wood. Mark has written several selections. Some of them you know from the past, some of them are new. He uses some of them in his show, but these are now re-released through Alfred Music, and we have gone through, and Mark and I have worked really hard in making the parts clean with great bowings and great fingerings. And these are really awesome pieces your kids can play. So a lot of complaints that he's had about his show is he does these great shows, and then when he leaves, you really can't do it. Well, he's put a lot of his music into standalone performance pieces. They come along with a free play along track, and it's a really good band. Several of them have different levels. So you may have a grade 1, grade 2, along with a grade 3 or 4. They're really awesome. And best part, they're also available in smart music. If your kids have smart music, which they should, it's a great tool. I have it at my school. When they play it, they've got his band in the background, and it sounds really great. So these are going to be released now in the fall. So check them out. It's a great way to recruit. I'm bringing Mark to my school in January and then down to my youth orchestra in April. But it's a great way to really put some gusto in your program and get those kids involved. And I see Katie there really loves the multi-level pieces. They are great. So we hope you check that out. It'll be the Mark Wood series. We're really excited to introduce that. Our next piece up can't have a great year without a completely pizzicato piece. So this is your opportunity to have them put those bows down so that they can start learning how to do really good pizzicato without rushing. This is a great grade 1 also. It stays in what I call pattern 1, which is kind of the G and the D major, has great unison rhythms, and it'll give your kids a lot of confidence. So let's take a listen to Esprit de Corps by Doug Spata.
I do love his pizzicato pieces. They're just put a smile on my face every time. And I always feel like if it's something that makes me smile or any of us adults smile, it's going to make kids smile because they kind of reflect our own enthusiasm. So we're super lucky to be able to work with kids all the time. And I don't know, I feel like teachers and those of us in the music world are super lucky to be able to work with the best textbooks available, which is music. Anyway, I digress. This next piece, Sinfonietta for strings by Anthony Granata. Anthony just became a dad, so congratulations to Anthony, who is a wonderful composer. Really so happy to have several of his pieces in our catalog. This one's a grade 2, and he wrote it in a neoclassical style. And if I remember correctly, he wrote this as a little bit of an honor to his experience with Elliot Del Borgo pieces, particularly the way that he uses marcato in it. I remember us talking back and forth about how he uses that in this piece. One of the things that makes Anthony's music stand out is his contrapuntal writing. So when you look at this piece and some of his other ones, you have to really study the scores and just see how detailed his writing is. Very well thought out. His transitions are excellent, and he does travel through different keys. And the other thing that I would mention about Anthony is to read his notes to the director. We've made a really good effort, I think it's a good effort, in trying to provide directors information from the composer, not only about the inspiration for pieces, but also some of the inside teaching tips within the piece. Whatever it's fingering patterns or highs and lows or extensions or whatever it is, Anthony's notes really do provide some guidance. Not that you would flip past the page 1 notes. Some people might do that. So I do want to draw your attention to that. But this is a really terrific piece and a great example of Anthony Granata's writing. So here we are with Sinfonietta for strings.
What beautiful, clean writing that is. I always love it when you have a piece like that you can pass out and teach. The hands won't be going up and saying, what's that? How does that look? Because the parts are so clean. And that's one of the things that we do here at Alfred is we want to make sure that they look really good when they're on the stand. So you don't have to waste your time with questions. You can just spend your time teaching. And that is such a great sounding piece. I totally loved it. We're going to switch gears just a little bit and go into a holiday section. And I know this is my 33rd year teaching. I can't believe it. I feel like I just started teaching yesterday. But every year when I'm trying to plan my year, I always like to do a holiday concert. I like to include a lot of different traditions and a lot of different styles of music. It's always hard to find that really good Hanukkah piece. Oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. And so we have a really good one, and this is a lesser known one. It's called Hanerot Halalu, and it's by Paul Riggio, and it's a grade 2.5. This is one of those really beautiful pieces that I had never heard, and his arrangement of it is really, really well done. It's taken off of a folk song, and it has that folk-like sound. It's a great grade 2.5 piece, and you'll absolutely be a great balance to any holiday concert. Hope you enjoy Hanerot Halalu.
Paul's a really talented writer and arranger, and I'm so happy to be, that's his first piece with us. It's just really stunning. And he was easy to work with and really just made the most out of this music. And it's just got so much emotion in it. So really, really love that. So the next thing we want to talk to you guys about is this project we've been working on, and we're still working on it, which is super exciting. It is called Sound Innovations Soloist. This is a smart music exclusive, meaning that that's where you access this content. It was kind of inspired by an idea that I had a long time ago, but was kind of accelerated through the COVID, being at home, and thinking through what do kids and teachers need right now. They need, and they've always needed it, but right now they really need some individual music to be practicing so that they have a good sense of purpose, so that we can help develop their individual skill and individual musicality and develop all those things when they're home. But they need more than that. They need more than just the notes on the page. Smart music is a great supportive tool for them. In addition to that, let's give them a little bit more. Each of these solos has preparatory exercises that have content related to the solo. It's almost as if the teacher were sitting beside them. And that was really the big idea. What can we provide teachers and students to give them meaningful practice at home? These are original solos, and you'll see as we scroll through the page there, you'll see that we have so many composers that are involved in this, more than 30. There are wind solos, there are string solos, and there are snare drum solos and mallet solos. So it's really across the musical curriculum, the instrumental musical curriculum. And we're adding content to this whole thing as time is going on. I'm working on it today, in fact. So there are many pieces, many solos that are actively available in Smart Music right now. And on the handout that you have from Mikhail, the virtual handout, you click the link that says View in Smart Music. If you have Smart Music, it'll bring you right to it. They're easy to find. There's a tile in Smart Music. It says Sound Innovation Soloist with that beautiful logo. You click it and you will get there. So excited about presenting this and giving this opportunity for a lot of new writers and a lot of trusted writers to deliver this content. And it's also available at totalsheetmusic.com. So if they want to get it outside of the platform, it is going to be available there too. So this is a continuing project that's going to continue through, I'm going to say January, because they're kind of a rolling release as we go on. So we're adding new solos each, however we can, whatever timeline we can get them into the platform. Smart Music has been adding a ton of content, and it's an ongoing process. If you haven't checked it out lately, go on there and check out all the new pieces from everywhere. It's just really fantastic. So Sound Innovation Soloist, be sure to check it out. It's perfect for developing leadership skills with your students, providing them music that's engaging, fresh, and original. And I really enjoyed working on these, as have the composers. So I'm really excited about that. So our next piece, another Doug Spata piece. So I said I already love his pizzicato pieces. The other side of Doug Spata, there are many sides to Doug Spata. One of them is his cinematic writing, which is what Through the Dark Domain kind of encapsulates. It's a grade 3, and that word cinematic is almost a little bit of a overused kind of word. But when you listen to it, you can imagine your own storyline. And there's so much great movie music, and that movie music has inspired many composers to write melodically, to give great parts to all, to bring out the soaring lines that cello can bring out. And Doug also likes to add a little sparkle of harp to some of his pieces, which he did in this one. This one has all the great ingredients to it, and the only thing missing is your students. So hopefully from now on, you can provide this for them, and they can provide that. So we have creative harmonies. I gotta look at my list. We've got exciting parts. Again, we like to say that melodies get in all sections. I also like to think about those rhythmic parts, the accompaniment parts. They're equally engaging as the melodic parts. And I think Doug did a really spectacular job with this piece. And I think you'll love it. So here is Through the Dark Domain.
Doug has done some really great pieces, and Chris is right. We did have heart failure because when we're in the recording studio, we don't want to have to make any changes because it's pretty much into the print level by that time. And so something like, oh boy, and we were really glad to figure it out. And it turned out to be it was a fun moment. Our Cobb teachers read through that piece this week and they loved it. I loved playing it as a viola player. It's a really great piece. So we hope you guys enjoyed that as well. We have another Bob Phillips, but he's teamed up with Renata Bratt. And I met Bob back in 2003. I had just started my fiddle group and we played at the Astra conference in Reno. And boy, was it intimidating strolling in these kids. I had about 40 kids in my fiddle group and we strolled in and played a few fiddle tunes. And I turn around and there's Bob Phillips in the front row. And he was so generous and so nice. And one of the things that I've struggled with having a fiddle group is that there's such good fiddle music, but it's hard to write that for the whole orchestra. And Bob is really good at that. And he and Renata have done that with Fiddler's Fortune. It's got 3 great fiddle tunes. It's a grade 3, lots of interesting things. You're going to love the viola part at the beginning. I loved it for sure. And it's an orchestration of Red-Haired Boy, St. Anne's Reel, and Blackberry Blossom. He does great rhythmic accompaniment. He and Renata are a great team together. Everybody gets the melody. So we hope you enjoy Bob Phillips and Renata Bratt's Fiddler's Fortune.
So the next piece, again, is another Richard Meyer piece, grade 3 at Astra, subtitle To the Stars. My little bit of Richard Meyer love, other than getting his mail, is I learned so much with every piece of his, actually with all of our writers. The fun part that I get to do is I learn so much from everybody that I work with. It's a collaborative thing that we do, composition. It's very personal, but at the same time, we support each other. It's a wonderfully supportive community, just like teaching, because most of us have taught. And we wind up supporting each other, and I learn from everybody. And I've learned so much from working with Richard on his pieces and with everybody else, but it's just so amazing. This particular piece it's got all the things that make Richard what he is. There's appropriate challenges for all the instruments. There's a variety of time changes in here. There's a variety of key signatures. We go from G, I think it's in D, then G back to D. I like the fact this piece goes between duple and triple. So there's a lot of great rhythmic concepts between playing 2 eighth notes and then eighth note triplets. And then there's a 6/8 section where he actually does the opposite. You're 6/8, but then he's got some duplets in there. Great things to be teaching in there. Measure 94, when that comes up, there's a really amazing contrasting section with some really interesting harmonic development. I've spoken too much. I want you to enjoy the music. We'll be back for a quick wrap up right after Ad Astra by Richard Meyer. There you have it. Jim's going to come back online. I'm going to put a quick plug for Richard's other piece in the catalog this year, School. Check out School. It's got a little narrations for each subject area. And the fun fact for that is that my kids did the narration. So it's a little bit of a time. And that was Jim's idea, was to figure out how we're going to do that. And he's like, why don't you have your kids read that narration? It worked out perfectly. And my older son, Brian, who's a sound engineer, he recorded it. So it's a little personally awesome, but it's also a great piece of music. Check out School. So Jim, thank you so much for joining me once again. You're always a pleasure to work with. You put the two of us in a room, people, and you can't shut us up.
Yeah, we sort of toned it down today, but I always love hanging out with Chris. He's so much fun. Chris, you do a great job and are providing so much support for our string community. We just really appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.